a horrendous commute each day to work. It's an hour, oh, plus sometimes, isn't it?
Can be an hour and a half.
Okay, so whilst I've been working today, sorting check-ins and check-outs and things like that, how have you been today, Sandra?
I've had an exciting morning. Well, actually, it started off alright. I've been to Hogsthorpe Church first thing this morning. So a nice little service there. Chat with some of the locals. Tea and biscuit. And there's a young man overstaying in an old relative's house from America who's just decided whether he wants to continue his medical degree or not. Anyway, so I gave him a lift back afterwards as well, because he's a Mumby as well. And I came back and they all said, can you get some washers? So I've been to Tool Station, I've been to Screwfix, and I've been to B&Q. So a semi-successful trip. One of the parts that Neil wanted, but not the other.
So that's for the Stiga mower. So I've got these washers now, so my deck's all up, so I'm ready to mow. Start tomorrow afternoon after the big goodbyes. Adria Caravan. The afternoon could be off to the nurseries.
I passed a massive car boot sale at Old Thorpe as well.
Yeah, that's seriously big, that one. Yeah.
So it's a little bit slow getting around that. It was really busy.
It's something, that one I think starts at something like 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, super mad. So just nipping over to Maybo at the moment for a reason, and then when we get back, I'm going to get a haircut. My hair is wild, seriously long, and get myself showered, get a clean shirt on, and we're going into Skaggy again tonight, aren't we?
Yeah.
Going for an Italian, San Rufus, isn't it? Which we've been to. This will be our third or fourth time.
Third, I think.
Third time.
Food's gorgeous though.
Yeah, really good. Good atmosphere and good food, isn't it? Right, put the camera down, and then all being well, it's going to be a bit of a, not really a campsite warden vlog. This one, it's a bit of a Neil and Sandra vlog, because we'll have a bit of a chat about some ideas we've got in our lives as we're going to be getting older and moving forward. Keep watching. Never showed you my results from my jeans, did I? So do you remember the stain, the grass stain on my knees? It's not brilliant, but it's pretty well gone considering how murky they were. Dead clever, me. You know, my jeans have got no idea how lucky they are to have me at all. Sun's out, Sandra, bright and sunny, so we've just actually put our feet up for an hour, haven't we? Which is damn rare. We want to say thank you to somebody, don't we? Can you remember who it was?
Kevin and Sandra. Hi Kevin, hi Sandra. What?
What are you thanking them for?
You tell me.
What are you doing? Kevin and Sandra have just sent over a coffee. So thank you ever so much, Kevin and Sandra. We're going to into Skaggy later. So yeah, that money's gone into the purse for that and everything. So I'm about to get my. What are you going to do with that, Sandra? I'm going to get my hair cut, and then.
So for the people that were worried last time, it does have a guard on number 2, so he's not going to get a skinhead. It's okay. It's all fine.
Yeah, good that. Oh, we managed to nip off the site before and found something that we couldn't find that we found, didn't we? Eventually. Yeah, that was a bit of a challenge. So do this, and then we're going to have a chat for 10 minutes. So stick around, and because we're going to be asking for some advice from you people out there, aren't we?
Well, I'm not sure. It'll make Neil feel better, put it that way.
I don't need making feeling better.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. I just want to rest my weary head. Right, I'm going to get my hair cut. We'll record the vlog. I can offload them, and while that's doing that, I need to have a shave. I need to have a shower. Put a shirt on today. It went a bit cool before, didn't it? So right, let's crack on with this then. Get my hair cut. So we're having a alfresco hair cut in the garden today. There's nothing better than getting your hair cut in the garden on a bright and sunny day here at the nurseries. I've just taken my glasses off and the sun's too bright.
Keep your head still.
I'm trying to keep my head still. You keep still. Don't give me a skinhead, will you, Sandra? My hair is ridiculously long at the moment. I hate it long. It's all sticks up in the morning. What did you just say, Sandra?
So just starting to get grey hairs on the top of your head at last.
Starting to get grey hairs? That's to be you stressing me out. It's causing flipping grey.
I've not even been here to stress you out.
They're not grey hairs. They're grey hairs of distinguishment. What's the word? When you distinguish, you get grey hairs. Don't you? My eyebrows have always got grey hairs, but you say got grey hairs. It's stress from last Friday. That's caused me grey hairs. Right, so we've been a little bit cryptic on a couple of our vlogs about things.
Well, only you.
Oh, my vlogs, my crypticology.
You're the dog.
You probably hear Russia. So haircut. Yeah, Russia glugging water. So those that have been following these vlogs will know that I ended up here in Lincolnshire a year ago, or just over a year ago now, quite by accident. I took a job on a campsite in a place called Mumby, and I turned around and said, I'll take the job. And then once John, my boss, had offered me the job, I then turned around and said, so where's Mumby? And I had no idea where it was. And I'd only ever been over onto the east this part of the east coast to Skegness once when I was very, very little, or very, very young. So to cut a long story short, we had a great time last year. You came to visit a few times, didn't you? And it was like quite enjoyable. The bit of time we got out, but we didn't really. It was a job, basically. It was it was a job. It was a place that I go. So I loved Northumberland, and Northumberland, what an amazing place! Absolutely fantastic. I was worked up there, a place called Hadrian's Wall campsite by Hadrian's Wall near Holt Whistle. It was amazing, but it was a job, and I never thought, oh, I'll go and live in Northumberland, just as an example. So we're getting older. Well, Sandra's getting older. I'm not getting any older because I'm only 42.
Very funny.
What? You've got more grey hairs than me.
Why do you think that is?
Because you're older than me. You're getting older and I'm not getting older. That's why that is. I think that.
You. Anyway, do you want to carry on?
I'll carry on. Okay. If you want to chip in, obviously chip in. So obviously Sandra's getting older and I'm getting younger. And where we live back in Manchester, those who know the area, we live just outside a place called Altrincham. And to put a finer name on the place, it's actually Hale. And those that know about Hale will know it's quite a very affluent area. Not where we live just in a small, privately owned small house, but Hale's very it's very affluent, very overpriced properties, and a lot of very rich people live in a certain part of it. Hilltop, for those that know. So I've been adamant that we will never ever move from Hale, where we got the house. The reason being is when my mum and dad died all them years back, I moved into this house, and my mum and dad had the house from brand new. They were the first tenants that moved into it before they actually bought it. So for me personally, it was just amazing to think of my mum and dad in their 20s getting this brand new house on this brand new estate, a garden city with front and rear gardens and all the mod cons. And my mum loved the garden, absolutely loved the garden, and a lot of memories when we used to decorate behind the wallpaper. We used to write our names and draw pictures, and to this very day, when you take the wallpaper off, all them illustrations that we did are on the walls, including things that my mum wrote and my dad wrote, my brother and my sister. And again, those that don't know, I'm the last one alive now out of the family. Anyway, to cut a long story short, it's a lovely house, isn't it? It really is on a really nice estate, and it's got gorgeous gardens. It's a south-facing garden, But there's a caveat. In recent times, the area we live has got, the whole of Manchester, something I call it urban sprawl. What's the word? Sprawl, that's the word, yeah. Where inner city living is expanding, and there is a plan to basically build on old Greenbelt in Manchester. So I'm going to get a little bit political here. Andy Burnham, anybody who thinks he's a hero and whatever, he's one of them. Anyway.
Wife overrule. It was a government directive for those a little bit more clued up.
Government directive.
It was a government directive.
Andy Burnham always says it's a government directive. Anyway,
It was.
he promised when he came into power as mayor that he would fight to save the Greenbelt, and him and his colleagues are absolutely adamant that they're going to destroy it. So
Sorry, wife overrule. It costs a lot more to develop on existing land and on Greenbelt. Developers like Greenbelt because they get a nice fat profit out of it because they bought the land cheap, and that's the tension in the system. And most of the money, there is government money for cleaning up brownfield sites, but something like 95% of it is spent in the southeast of England.
Yeah. So the property, the property.
It's a bit more complicated.
It is complicated.
Not all of us hate Andy Burnham like Neil.
I hate Andy Burnham. He's behind the ULEZ.
You're getting too old. Drop the hating, please.
Right. Anyway,
carry on.
So Sandra says with Greenbelt, and if you're affected by this, because I know many people are affected by the development of Greenbelt, the property developers can't be asked to clear brownfield sites that may be contaminated. There may be an old historic mill from years ago. They're looking for prime virgin soil. Anyway, back at home, I've been leading. I'm still sort of doing a bit campaign to actually save the Greenbelt, because the Greenbelt was put there for a reason. And some of you watching this were going to go, yeah, but we need homes, Neil. We need homes, and so because we need homes, we need to free up the Greenbelt. It's got to be a brownfield policy before Greenbelt, and the time has not come, in my opinion, to start. To start this urban sprawl that's going on, and let's say this.
Well, it's not just that. Like the whole point, part of the reason why the land near us is still Greenbelt is because it's a natural floodplain for the area. So it's streams and brooks. So those nice new houses that people want to build there are just going to get flooded from time to time anyway.
Yeah,
so
and the particular area is literally 1 minute walk away from Manchester Airport. It's the last remaining bit of a lung. Anyway, without going on to that, the greenery around us where we live is going to demise, and no matter how many people like myself who are campaigning to save it, it's going to get overruled. We just had an area of land literally last year that's on Greenbelt. Was given planning permission for
by the government, by the way,
for development. So a property company have come in, said, right, we're going to build on the Greenbelt. They lost the planning application, appealed and won, and basically now they've got planning permission. They've now turned and said we don't want to build on it. Somebody else can, and they've sold the contracts on for a quick one of them. And part of the reason why I've also said that is local authorities and planning rules aren't what they were several years ago. So for those that don't know, I'm a former councillor and I used to sit on planning, and one thing that was absolutely frowned upon was retrospective planning applications. And what that means is if you had a neighbour that built an extension on the house without planning permission, more often than not, when the retrospective application went in, it was frowned upon, and there would be a penalty to pay, or even that breach of planning would have to be put right. So one of our neighbouring properties wanted to build a super large extension. We didn't object to that because we know people want to expand their houses. And we had planning officers come to visit us and say that they were concerned about the size of it. And I said, well, we're not going to object. And then blow me down, they then extended their garden, basically, wasn't it? And put on a patio that was raising several feet up in the air. and planning.
So just so it makes sense to people. So our garden's quite steeply sloping down from the back of the house. So her extension was already on, building outwards, so making like a big wedge compared to our garden. So the extension was already quite high. And then the patio is massive, wasn't it? Was like 8 metres or something?
No, so basically, if they stood on this patio that wasn't on the planning applications, their waste came above our garden fence. So if you imagine you were now sat in our garden, and you've got somebody literally 10 foot in the air.
So before the fence was finally erected, so I was talking to my neighbour, and their chest pretty much was the same height as my head. Yeah, it's just weird.
So to cut a long story short, that we said to our neighbour we were going to object to that. We wouldn't fall out or anything. We never fell out, and the planning officers granted it, and it was actually in breach of planning regulations. And constantly, I watch planning meetings now where people are doing retrospective work on the properties, and it's just been rubber stamped. Oh, go on, you'll be all right, go on, and it didn't used to be like that.
We also just kind of, to be honest, annoyed because I went to planning. I mean, so some of the councillors went to our neighbours, but looking from the high vantage point, looking down the hill, obviously it doesn't look that bad, but when you're down looking up at somebody's navel, if you know what I mean, it's like a different story. But none of them even bothered to come and have a look, and then voted it through.
So those that don't know, if you're a councillor and you sit on planning, you more often than not will go and do site visits, so you can actually look at the application to get a flavour of what it's about. Anyway, that happened to us. And then the estate we live on, we've got a beautiful front garden. You've seen our front garden on previous vlogs, but a proper real garden. It's a mature garden now, isn't it, with the holly tree and some of the plants my mother planted decades ago, the fuchsias and the roses and things. And
you've forgotten something.
What's that?
Our wedding apple tree.
And our wedding apple tree in the back garden. But we've got like off-road parking, a lay-by, that's the word I'm looking for. So we've not tarmacked over our garden. But nowadays, when houses get sold, the first thing people do, they just rip up the hedges, if there are any, and out comes a tarmac or the block paving, slap, and this also for car parking. But this then also leads to flooding, because there's no grass for the rain to come down, so it's throwing water down the drain, so you get all these floods, and people go, why is our estate flooding? It never used to flood. It's because you've been tarmacked it over, or you block paved it over. And then the sheer speed of traffic is just incredible. I mean, the aggressive driving is just mind-boggling, isn't it?
So we're on a bend, and
So those that have been watching my vlog will have seen the video and me where I'm literally in my house, and I've got a car parked in a lay-by across the road, and a speeding van and a speeding car caused an accident, and my car that was parked up it's a courtesy car, gets written off. Anyway, we're waffling. So there's a lot going on, and the the potholes are beyond belief. I mean, the state of the roads aren't they just really bad?
Well, most of them have been done for now, apart from Grove Lane.
Yeah.
But wherever they're putting on the roads, it doesn't hold up very well, is all I can say.
No, so there was a solution when I was a councillor that they were basically going to put an anti-freeze solution into tarmac to stop the... Anyway, there's a lot of things where I've fallen out of love, and my town, Altrincham, used to be an absolutely amazing town now. And
can I say what my issue is?
Yeah, just hang on a minute, let me talk about people. But there are now a lot of pretentious, snobby people in the town, and Altringham's a fantastic, it's an amazing place, but it's not what it was. So what's your issue about where we live?
Because to keep paying the mortgage, I have to keep doing that not very good commute, well, pretty awful commute all the way into central Manchester. Yeah, so it's getting wearing.
Yeah, so I was going to come on to work in a minute. So, but as I say, the moving house has never been on the radar, and I've changed my mind, completely changed my mind. And I said to Sandra, it's Christmas time, wasn't it? Really, sort of put the idea. I said, you are doing a horrendous commute each day to work. It's an hour, or plus sometimes, isn't it?
Can be an hour and a half.
To do an 8-mile trip in from our house into the centre of Manchester in winter, and it's pouring with rain, it's cold, and Sandra then works a full 8-9 hour day, and it's awful for her. And as
looking after my mum.
Yeah, and the voluntary work you do and things like that, or used to do more so. But as Sandra's getting older and I'm not, it's
very funny.
it's getting tiring, you know, and anybody of a certain age will know, you know, your days of banging on for 12 hours a day and having the strength and enthusiasm and the mental health to deal with that. So, to cut a long story short, where we are is we've started to look at property prices and properties in Lincolnshire, primarily at the moment.
Are you sure you want to tell people this?
Yeah, it's not now, but just sort of going forward a little bit.
Because what happens, like, so Neil has a habit of doing this. So we'll go to a really nice quiet campsite that nobody knows about, for example, and then he'll go and put it on a vlog, and then next thing we can't stay there anymore because it's so popular. I mean, that sort of problem.
People millions of people won't move to Lincolnshire because of a vlog, but I have had a habit of going to really beautiful campsites, going, this is an amazing campsite, look how quiet it is. But anyway, so we've started to look at some properties, and the price here is, I would say it's virtually half price, isn't it? It's you can buy a property here for half the price of what we can back at home, and the most amazing thing here is probably 90% of the properties have got front gardens still, and the greenery, isn't it, and the space, and they've all got back gardens, and everything is maintained. It's a bit like going back to the garden cities of the 1960s. It's something else when you actually look, isn't it? I think.
Well, some of them are. I mean, quite a lot are paved over still. But
yeah, but there's a whole. It's completely different to the urban sprawl. What's happening back at home?
I think the point more, Neil, is that anyway, to be able to afford to live in the Hale area, it's only possible if there are two of you and you both work, and probably both work long hours. So there just isn't the physical time, to be quite honest, to enjoy this expensive house that you've got. It's just
no. I
crazy.
mean, we have got a mortgage, but compared to other people, it is tiny. I won't explain. I can't explain. I'm not going to explain my past and things, but fortunately, it's compared to other people, it's tiny. So what we're doing is we're in the very, very early stages. I say sometime before we can actually retire or anything like that. But we have now got potentially on the radar at some stage to sell up the house back at home and to potentially move over to Lincolnshire, and for a career path to be found. So fingers crossed I'm going to be here at the nurseries for maybe another year. I don't know. But Sandra's sort of looked at other companies in the area, and if we're careful, if we're very, very, very careful with the amount of collateral that we'll be able to put into the bank, our lives will be easier, and especially for Sandra. I've said to Sandra for her to have a month, 3 months, 6 months, or even possibly as long as have a year off. Basically, if you move somewhere else, just have a complete year off, because she's worked so hard since we've been together, isn't it, full time.
We're going to steal my mum anyway, in any regard.
And Barbara.
She deserves a bit more quality time, I would say.
So we have also got Barbara, the mother-in-law, in this mix. We've got no idea, as I say, this could be several years away. But if Barbara wants to come with us, and we can find a property that's got a granny annex or a granny flat or something like that, for us to take Barbara, not under our wings, that's the wrong word, isn't it? But to bring Barbara with us, and to give her some just quality help, support and care in in her twilight years. Those that will remember, Barbara was 90. It was only a few weeks ago, wasn't it? And Sandra can spend some quality time with her mum and get a nice garden and things like that. So I just wanted to put it out there. Oh, I'm sorry, and I have let my children know about this as well. So don't think, oh God, what's happening with your children? So what my children know about this, or our children know about this, I should say. That's complicated. So I know of one viewer before, as I'm recording this, who's on a seasonal pitch, who's done exactly what we're talking about doing, and she's basically gone, go for it. But our question to you is, have you sold up, downsized, maybe moved somewhere else, and what was the experience like? How did you go on? Was it a great big mistake and you really regret it? It was like bang. It's because moving houses is buying houses is I'm getting grey hairs thinking about it. I'm too young to have scares. I'm only 44, aren't I? Or was I 46? Can't remember. And
say something else that's going out on mine now. Might come back.
Might come back. And obviously downsizing. So we were saying that a lot of the furniture we've got back at home, just as an example, is big and bulky. It's all mainly IKEA. A lot of it's quite new, isn't it? Redid all the bedrooms and stuff just a handful of years ago. But we may just literally sell all the furniture back at home and just bring our personal possessions with us.
Well, I think it's obviously, I imagine the cost of putting all that in storage while we get everything moved over fairly likely won't be worth the cost of the furniture itself, I guess. Was the
and the transportation, because anybody that knows, once you've had, I mean, we've got a couple of massive sort of trio wardrobes, and when we assembled them, they came in about 20 boxes, and the sheer weight to physically transport over to Lincolnshire and everything. Anyway, things like that. And then when I do get home for winter, we're going to have a major declutter. We've got 2 sheds just full of things, mainly Sandra's. But buckets, lots of buckets.
We?
We.
You?
We. What's mine is yours. What are you laughing at? We. What are you going to do with all them buckets?
Some of them are just free. It's like you don't pass over a free bucket.
You never pass over a free bucket. So
some of them are yours.
Yeah, and then obviously when
what about the wood? I'll be a bit traumatised about giving up the wood pile, but that's just.
Well, we'll leave the log burner. We'll leave the log burner in the house, and any logs that are chopped up in our log store. So I think we've got about 2 years' supply. We'll leave those potentially for the next owner.
But we won't have any.
We'll start again. I'll get my chopper out.
We won't be seasoned.
Well, I've got seasoned wood people around here, because there's more log burners and things in this area than back at home. And then there's so that was it. So when I come away, I only bring a few clothes, no personal belongings, and I don't miss them. So I've got hundreds of CDs, just as an example, that aren't played. Some of those are very personal and collectible. I would never get rid of. Same as my, I've got quite a big OMD collection, but I would love to donate this OMD collection to a museum, because I don't look at it. It's just things I've accumulated, and it sits in the attic and everything. So I'm going to look at possibly, can I donate some items to wherever, and completely minimise what we've got, declutter, and possibly new adventures could be on the horizon. When, we have got no idea. But if you live in Lincolnshire yourselves, so we're sort of looking between Skegness and Mablethorpe up to Louth, sort of possibly up the Humber estuary, not necessarily by the seaside, maybe inland. When we see a property that we both like, I think we'll both know, won't we?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think you know, and what we may end up having to do at some stage is sell our house in Hale, move into somewhere temporary,
But after it is what it is. But obviously, it's Neil's family home, so I've never grumbled about that part. I've never lived so far from where I work that it has been a major headache, really.
Yeah, but even here, so from this campsite into Skegness or into Mablethorpe, it's about an 8-mile journey. The same as going from our house into central Manchester, and it takes. We're going out. We've got a table booked tonight at 8 o'clock, and we'll leave at 7:30, and we'll be there at 10 to 8. Doing that back at home, even on a what day is it? Even on a Sunday night, you'd be allowing 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
At home, it's just this whole thing of the major routes. Like if there's a big football match on, could be United, could be City. If there's a big pop concert on, or some social sort of arts event or whatever it might be, you just can't get anywhere, can you?
No, we suffer
Christmas,
we live very close to Manchester United football ground, so when there's a big match on, the whole infrastructure and public transport collapses.
It's just both, because it's like the main routes in the M56 and the Princess Park and all that, whichever both are the big clubs, everything grinds to a halt when there's a match. You can't go anywhere.
And those
that want to go and see Lucy, I couldn't physically get there because of the traffic.
And those that know Manchester United football ground will know across the way from there is Lancashire cricket ground with the same problems. And then there can be big concerts there, and then there are going to be tens of thousands, if not in the whole of Greater Manchester, hundreds of thousands moving in as the green belt gets developed, and the infrastructure cannot cope.
Manchester Marathon.
We don't just have one road closure one day, the Manchester Marathon. There's a Manchester Marathon, there's a blah 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 run, and there's another run, and then there's another run. You can't even get out of your houses, and it's just the love of Hale and Altrincham has well and truly gone. It's gone, and slightly off the radar. But when I met Sandra, I used to have a business, and Sandra was doing child care work, looking after Hannah, and it was a bit of a role. Maybe we will tell you a story about how we met and how the roles changed. Sandra going back working full time.
Nobody really talks about it, but I'm actually a highly skilled professional. Like, I'm not to blow my trumpet particularly, but I'm a highly skilled research technician. Recently turned into a highly skilled health and safety professional. So it's like, yeah.
Well, so am I.
Since I've known you, as you say, you've been doing other things, a lot of voluntary work.
So those that don't
paid work, not so much, which is why I ended up going back to full-time work, isn't it?
So in 2006, we did this in 2006. I just turned around. I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I used to have a very successful partnership with quite a large photographic company, and then
you met me,
and then I met Sandra.
His family all blame me as well.
To cut a long story short, I met Sandra. Digital photography was coming along, and I was still analog. And Sandra turned round and said, basically, you're going to end up having a heart attack if you carry on what you're doing. And within literally 6 months of meeting Sandra, I dissolved my partnership and didn't have a clue what we were going to do. So I used to be a businessman and gave that up. It was too stressful being a businessman. Didn't enjoy that. But where I was coming to was when Sandra then went back to work. One thing, Sandra, as you probably know, has been a keen cyclist, and we wanted to do our bit to be green, and do our bit for the environment. So Sandra got herself something called a little Brompton bike, a folding up bike.
Sure, missed that. That's great.
She could. You're not allowed to take bikes on our tram system called the Metrolink, but if you put it in an IKEA bag, you're allowed to take it on it. But we did. But the local transport system, and this is going back to 2007 and 8, was so broken then. This is 15 years ago. If there was a big sporting event on, you could not get onto the trams, and there was 2 or 3. One winter, it may have been the winter of 2010, the harsh one. We had the snow.
Yeah, that's what finished me off.
Where Sandra was calling me, basically stuck in Manchester, crying, bitterly cold, that she physically could not get home. She could not get on a tram. There was no space. It was so overcrowded, and it's still like that now. But physically, and that's how come she ended up getting a car.
And so sometimes it was even 2 or 3 hours to get home. It's just grim.
So that's how come we've actually got 2 cars. It was cheaper and quicker and safer for Sandra to actually commute into Manchester in a car, because the transport system.
I thought you were going to say about my electric bike, actually.
Yeah,
more recent times, I do cycle 1 to 2 days a week on my electric bike.
Yeah, but obviously in winter when it's cold and harsh,
depends, depends on the weather.
So yeah, we've had a very long waffle and all the rest of it. We've been going on half an hour, and we shouldn't be going on half an hour. But basically that's where we are. So at some stage we may become Lincolnshireans.
However, there are other parts of the world.
There are, like Barbados. If you come from Lincolnshire, what are you called? So we're Manchester, we're Mancunians, aren't we, or Manx? I've no idea what we call people from Lincolnshire. Right, I think we're going to stop there because we're waffling. But if you've got any advice to us, slot them down in the comments below, isn't it? And you know,
I mean, the slight downside from my point of view is I like hilly places. What?
You've got the walls. Walls aren't far away.
Not exactly the Peak District, though, is it?
God, right. I think we should go, don't you? Any advice? Let us know. Keep watching. A new adventure may begin one day, because I'm getting younger and Sandra's getting older. Say bye, Sandra.
Bye.
Don't say see you on the next one. Are you going to say goodbye?
Huh?
I've stopped saying see you on the next one.
Am I allowed to say speak soon?
You can say speak soon. I'm not. I've stopped saying right.
Speak soon. Bye.